are familiar with what's happening. Make sure I did that. Also, that if you see other people on the calls, if you want to have a private chat with them, you can go ahead and do that. I think that's one of the nice way we can still encourage networking opportunities. So that chat available on the side, you can chat with everybody, or you can chat with any specific people you have or seen it on there as well. So you know, we're gonna leave this Zoom conference thing after it's done. We're gonna leave it on for 15 or minutes or so, so you'll continue to chat if you want to continue to have that conversation or make some connections that way. So of course, we try to encourage that in all the things that we do. With that, any further ado, I just want to thank you again for coming on, and I'm going to turn over to Julia. Julia, if you don't mind, helping us out with some of the information directly from the SBA.
Of course. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you all for being on here today, and thank you to Vaughn and AVALA for organizing this. I'm going to share our PowerPoint, so just bear with me 1 second. I think, okay, it should be up now. As was mentioned, my name is Julia Darmaleo. I'm the Public Affairs Specialist for the at the Small Business Administration's Los Angeles District Office. And I'm here on behalf of Victor Parker, who unfortunately couldn't be on the call today, but he sent his regards. And I just wanted to take some time to go over the resources that SBA has to offer for small businesses and private nonprofits who have been affected by this virus. I know its effects have been enormously devastating, and we really want to make sure, it's so important in this time to make sure that you're getting information from the source itself. I mean, we've even surpassed reliable sources. We want to go to directly where the information originates. So it's so important to have these kinds of calls and webinars. So what I thought we'd start talking about is the SBA's economic injury, there we go, disaster loan program. So right now we have we actually have more than 2 available now, emergency capital programs. The first one, and probably the one that applies to the majority of small business owners and nonprofits, is our economic injury disaster loan program. So this is for a loan, it's a working capital loan that goes up to $2 million. The first payment is deferred for 12 months, and that 12-month deferment is also flexible. So in the event that this crisis goes on for longer than we expect, that SBA has the authority to defer the payment for longer than that 12-month period, and that would be a decision SBA would make internally. And so I know in the past couple weeks since the disaster loan applications opened, people have had issues accessing the site, which was previously disasterloan.sba.gov. We have since migrated the site and completely simplified it, and the whole application can be completed 100% online through our new and improved web portal, which is at sba.gov/disaster. And you just hit the red apply for assistance button. There's a slide later that kind of gives the visual. Within that economic injury disaster loan platform is now built in the economic injury disaster loan advance that some people might have heard some talk about. So this advance is for up to $10,000. And if approved, these funds can be used for payroll, other general operating expenses, things that can't be met, financial obligations that can't be met as a direct result of the virus, and they are eligible for forgiveness. And so it is approval for an SBA economic injury disaster loan, or commonly called EIDL, is not contingent on receiving this advance, but you do have to go through the application online. So all small business owners in the United States and its territories are eligible to apply. We have seen a lot of issues around scams and frauds with misinformation about what is available and how it is available. There's no immediate deadline to apply. There is definitely no cost to apply for an economic injury disaster loan. So we really encourage people, when they're looking at these options, make sure you are at sba.gov/disaster. That is the only website that this platform is available on. This is just a couple, some facts about idle loans overall. So you can use them for fixed debts, payroll, accounts payable, essentially whatever working capital you need to meet your ordinary and necessary financial obligations. But because of coronavirus, that cannot be met. You require that you have a credit history acceptable to SBA. These are cash flow loans, so there's no hard and fixed credit score that you need to have. Each application is considered on a case-by-case basis. All loans under $25,000 do not require collateral. And in fact, SBA will not decline a loan for lack of collateral. So if you don't have it, it's not required, but if it is available and your loan is above $25,000, you will be required to pledge that. The interest rate is at 3.75% for small businesses and 2.75% for nonprofits. And the repayment terms are at a maximum of 30 years. So loan terms are determined on a case-by-case basis based on SBA's assessment of the borrower's ability to repay. And that is also what the loan amount is determined on. So the max for these economic injury disaster loans is $2 million, but the actual loan the loan amount that you would be approved for is determined by SBA based on our assessment of the economic injury you suffered. This is, however, once you apply for a loan, you are given a case manager and a loan processor. And if you apply for a loan, your case manager comes to you and says, okay, we've determined you're eligible for example, $30,000, and you have the documentation to prove that, perhaps you need a higher amount, you can go back to SBA, go back to your case manager and make that case for yourself. The only way, or one of the few ways you wouldn't be eligible for an SBA loan is non-compliance. So if you had a previous SBA loan or an SBA disaster loan that you did not comply with the terms of, or you didn't, in case of other disasters, you didn't maintain the required insurance coverage, you could be non-eligible. And so this is really important. The deadline is December 16th. We've seen a lot, like I said, of fraud and scamming around when the deadline to apply. I saw something on a website that shall not be named that said it was this weekend. That is absolutely not true. In general, for all economic injury disaster loans, the application period is 9 months from the declaration. And as I mentioned, that is a deadline that can be extended if the crisis goes on for longer than expected. So this is the sba.gov/disaster. This is the beginning where it says apply for assistance and it's circled in red. That's what you would click to begin your loan application. It takes you to another sba.gov website where you will input your information. And thankfully the process has been very streamlined and is much more accessible and user-friendly. This is a list of helpful resources. So I know I keep saying it, but it really bears repeating. Make sure your information and your resources are coming from the source of where that information originates. So in case of programs administered through SBA, you really want to make sure it's on the sba.gov website. So disaster assistance resources are all sba.gov/disaster or sba.gov/coronavirus. Your local district office here in Los Angeles, that's us. Our website is sba.gov/ca/LA. You can call us, you can email us. If you follow us on Twitter, you can slide into our DMs. Make sure if you have any questions about information you've seen or the validity of the information you've seen, reach out to us. We're here for you. It's our job, it's what we want to do. We really want to make sure small business owners and nonprofits and our entire community has access to the resources and the correct information. I'll keep the resource page up. We did finally get approval to talk about the Paycheck Protection Program, which was part of the CARES Act, which has an enormous impact on our small business community. The Paycheck Protection Program authorized up to $349 billion towards job retention and other expenses. So under this program, eligible recipients may qualify for a loan up to $10 million. And that is determined by 8 weeks of prior average payroll plus an additional 25% of that amount. Loan payments for the Paycheck Protection Program will be deferred for 6 months. And if you maintain your workforce, SBA will forgive the portion of the loan proceeds that are used to cover those first 8 weeks of payroll and some other expenses following the loan origination. I can make sure to provide all the websites and the relevant information in the comment box in just a moment. We also are offering Express Bridge loans. So the Express Bridge Loan Pilot Program allows small businesses who currently have a business relationship with an express lender to access up to $25,000 with a significant reduction in the paperwork required. And these loans are essentially to help small businesses overcome that temporary loss of revenue they are experiencing, and can be term loans or used to bridge the gap while you're applying for an economic injury disaster loan. So all of these programs are separate. The only two that come kind of in conjunction with each other is the economic injury disaster loan and the economic injury disaster loan advance, which is, and they're only together because the loan advance is part of the economic injury disaster loan application. But like I said, if you guys have any questions, we also have a vast network of resource partners. So if you go on the sba.gov/disaster, it'll give you a link to the local assistance page, so you can find a small business development center, a women's business center, a veterans business outreach center, SCORE mentors. These are all free resources that are accessible to anyone in our small business community who just has business questions. They can help you go through the loan application. They can help you determine which program is going to be the most beneficial to you, not only within the SBA, but also with our public-private partnerships, our city, state, other resources. They can help you navigate that. So nobody should be paying anyone to fill out their SBA loan application. These are resources that are already available. They're subject matter experts, and they can really be an incredible boon as you navigate, as our small business community navigates this process. And like I said, our district office is always here to help. I'll make sure to add our contact information outside of the website in the comment box if anyone has any questions. But are there any questions
Julia,
so far?
yeah, Julia, this is Dennis. Hey, and thank you, and that was really, I know there's a lot of information.
It's a lot of information, sorry.
And no, that's, well, I know we need to digest. I think one of the questions that came up was banks, right? Are you guys going to be working with banks in terms of how this is done? What's the latest? I know, I heard there's, I think the first disaster loan was just directly with the SBA. Now with the CARES Act, and maybe going through the bank, but what about the paycheck protection? Will we guys usually utilize banks as far as that process? Yes,
so the economic injury, the EIDL loans will continue to be processed through SBA, but the paycheck, the paycheck protection program, so PPP, will be, you can apply through any existing SBA 7A lender. So any 7A lender, or through any federally insured depository institution, federally insured credit union, farm credit system, that you can apply for the PPP. If you want a list of approved SBA 7A lenders, if you go to our district office website, the sba.gov/SCA/LA, on our resource guide, there's a full list of them, including contact information and websites within that guide.
Hi, excuse me, this is Larry Johnson talking. I am also an advisor with several of the SBDCs.
Oh, wonderful.
At Pasadena City College and at El Camino College. There is a slight hiccup that's developed, and perhaps you can bring this back to the office. Chase Bank has sent around a communication to its folks, and have even responded to some of the people I've referred to them, that they are only going to offer PPP to their bank customers, existing bank customers, as of February 10th. And so that didn't seem to be, it's certainly not in accordance with what you've mentioned here. And there's some confusion there. I don't know if this is they're confusing the terms of the emergency bridge, express bridge loan concept. but that's what they're putting out. Bank of America is not saying it. U.S. Bank are two banks that I've received communications from that are not saying anything like that, but Chase definitely is.
Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. I'll definitely let Victor Parker know and our lender relations team just to get some more clarification on that.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Hey, Larry, thank you very much for that. Let me turn this over to Vaughn, and then we'll kind of go over. I know, Julie, we'll connect with you as far as getting the links. And so the folks on the phone, when on the call would know that we're gathering all the information. There is a place on ABA's website called abala.org/solutions. And then we'll have all the links in from today's presentation as well.
Mm-hmm.
But let me go ahead and turn this over to you, Vaughn.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. I am Vaughn Williams. I am the chair of the Education and Outreach Committee for the ABA-LA. And we wanted to put together this presentation just so that members in the community understood what resources and leverage they have during COVID-19. The bulk of this call was for the purpose of SBA. The other organizations that are on the call that are part of the committee are Frontier Communications, Northrop Grumman, Disney, Metropolitan Water District. And so with that, each of us will give you a little bit of information, twofold. One, on what are we doing for survival during COVID-19, and then the rest of the presentation will be geared toward what opportunities are available per the agenda. And so with that, I will go first. I don't have a lot to present as SoCalGas. We're really committed to the community and how we support them. And so what we did, because we don't have the ability to issue grants in the nature of a crisis like this, is we donated about $1 million to help nonprofits throughout our service territory. And that money will go towards funding people who have to possibly lay off, provide food and bill payment assistance. And there's a link attached here that you can click on after this call. But one of the things that I think is key is that we've suspended any turnoffs or any disconnects during this time frame. And so for businesses who may be concerned about, well, how do I pay my utility bill so that I can at least keep things going while we're trying to stay open, we're here to tell you, don't worry about that bill right now. If you have other bills that are more pressing, worry about those. Just give us a call and say, hey, I'm affected by COVID-19. You can call the 1-800 number on your bill, and any of the representatives will just simply mark your bill as deferred. And the last conversation I had with the crisis team is that they're deferring those bills upwards now through the summer, and then they'll take a look at it again to see if future deferments are needed. So that's one thing. The next thing that I want you to know is that as it relates to financial support, we are currently looking at ways that we can support outside of this $1 million contribution. We are looking at ways to assist with the contributions that we provide to our community-based organizations. We're taking a look at the budgets, assessing and seeing how we can make an impact in terms of helping businesses survive. The other area that we're doing is we have a large budget for technical assistance. For this year, we are revamping our technical assistance programs to partner with individuals to specifically talk about business survival in a time of crisis. And so in the next few weeks, we will be sharing with ABA and other organizations our schedule. We'll be online this time as, of course, we are practicing social distancing. And so with that, we'll be teaching individuals or sharing with individuals other resources that are available to help with things like bill payment, or how do you get money to pay the rent, or what grants are available. Within SoCalGas, we have a community development department, and they really focus on funding organizations or identifying ways to assist. So we are working strategically to put that portion together. But for now, I would suggest that you click on the link that shows you which organizations has the money that we've already committed to, and then circle back in a few weeks with ABA through Dennis to find out what other programs we are offering in terms of assistance. But most of all, just be aware you don't have to worry about us disconnecting you at this point. So that's what I have in terms of the financial survival portion, Dennis. I can turn it over to Dawn at this point.
Vaughn, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. So in Frontier space, we are also, like, I think most of the utilities that we have suspended all cutoffs, all disconnections and all of that. And we're going to be setting up financial plans for our customers as we move forward, those who are out of work, or if their businesses have shut down or they're coming into some issues. We're going to work through all of that. So again, don't worry about that. That's the least of our worries. But Frontier has moved to full administrative staff as telecommuting. And then all of our employees, we have a system where in order to keep them safe, we're following up with our customers directly to find out if there are any cases of the COVID-19 in the home or possible cases, rather than sending them directly out there, because I know that's an issue for the service folks who feel like they are, you know, they're the front lines. And also with our suppliers, a few of our suppliers that we work with deal directly with customers, and we're asking them to continue to follow the protocol. In turn, what we're doing regarding the community-based organizations that we're supporting, many of the events that some of you may have planned on participating have been suspended or canceled or rescheduled. What we are doing, and we're doing this in collaboration with SoCal Gas and a few of our utility partners, is we're going to be hosting some panels where we're going to be talking about the opportunities that are coming forward, and you'll see that in the community shortly. But for Frontier, now, Del, clarify this for me. Did you want me to talk about any opportunities that we have coming up, Vaughn, or do we want to talk about that later?
We can talk about that later. This portion of the agenda is really just to talk about the survival portion.
Right.
I think we'll be swinging into opportunities very, very shortly.
Okay, well, let me just be brief because I know other people have to speak. So that's kind of where we are with Frontier, and I guess I'll toss that back to Vaughn.
And I'm going to toss it back to Dennis to put the agenda up. There we go. So I believe the agenda now calls for just what you were talking about, Don, the opportunities. And we have Ben Tubo from Disney, and we also have Vicky Harper-Hall from Northrop Grumman on the phone, who will talk about that. After they finish, then Don and I and Lydia will come back on and talk about opportunities as well.
Sure, Vaughn, just to be clear, are we talking about what our companies are doing, or are we talking about opportunities?
The ball's in your court. You have two folds that you could discuss. You can talk about your upcoming as Disney prepares to reopen, or you can talk about what present day you have. I know you had a couple of different things that you could have spent on.
Okay, so I'll just talk a bit about what Disney's doing. So for the most part, Disney's closed, right? The parks are closed, the studio's closed, all productions for media is closed, the stores are closed. So the only two segments that are working for Disney is DTCI, which is Disney Plus, and the media. So if you're a fan of ESPN, you're probably seeing a lot of reruns now, right? No live sports, no ongoing productions, and none of that stuff. So for the most part, Disney is closed. The segments that are working, like corporate and, you know, all the other folks that don't need to be in the field, are exclusively working from home unless you actually have to be in one of the facilities to work. So that's the status. So focus now for Disney, really, it's at least on the supplier side, which I think is a relevant conversation we want to have, is to identify the resources that are out there in the different areas of operations, right? Florida, LA, Connecticut, New York, the resources that small businesses can use in these different places that they operate in. Internally, they're working on like payment terms. They sent out an email to help with payment terms and, you know, help with deposits and some of the things that suppliers might need with the constraints that they're facing from a working capital standpoint and all of those things. So some of those opportunities are available if suppliers raise their hands to ask for them. But a lot of the effort now really, like Vaughn alluded to, for Disney is thinking about reopenings for the stores, reopenings for the parks, productions and stuff like that. So, you know, for suppliers that are seeking that may want to engage, to be honest, it's not a whole lot going on. You know, I've found that there's a lot of opportunity with suppliers that have solutions that can be used today. So the very primitive way to look at it, hand sanitizers, touchless thermometers, nitrile gloves, masks, you know, stuff like that. F&B, food and beverage, they're kind of pipelining those for the parks, they're pipelining those for productions, and just, you know, high-level testing of certain things, tech systems that have been shut down and stuff like that. So for a form of engagement, really, we've kind of struggled with, you know, how to articulate this for Disney, but it's no longer, here's a list of things that we want to do, and here's the path we're going to go down. You know, the best case scenario is, here's what I have, here's what you need, let's match it, let's get them ready to go. And that's really how you need to look at it. But generally, I think for everybody now and for Disney and, you know, I think every corporation and every entrepreneur, it's to think about, how is it going to change? There's a lot of things that are going to change. I think if you start thinking about how you're engaging now and how you're providing solutions and all of those things, it's going to be the same coming out of it if it's not going to become the norm. And so if you want to think about opportunities, it's really, how do I change to mimic what's going to be happening in the marketplace? How do I change to mimic some of the constraints that, you know, as much as I think entrepreneurs and smaller businesses are going through some of these challenges, it's very fair to assume that some of the bigger corporations who have, you know, bigger mouthpieces are going to be speaking very loudly into the microphone and trying to suck in some of the energy that will be in the marketplace. So it's just to think about how you're aligned with some of those things, some of the needs and some of the challenges, to position yourself to be a good partner. So.
Thanks, Ben. Vicky?
Okay, with North, can you hear me?
Yes. Next slide, Dennis. There we go. Can you see the Vicky? Did we lose her? You're on mute, Vicky.
Okay, sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I have to start all over again. Sorry about that. So I'll be quick because I know time is of the essence and I have another meeting. Basically, Northrop Grumman is having daily COVID-19 meetings with our leadership team. 2 weeks, we've been off. I've literally been home for 3 weeks. All of my team is working from home. Mostly everybody is working remotely, or if they're in the critical swim lanes for manufacturing, they are still keeping those distances, but trying to make sure that we continue to do the things that protect our country and the war fighters in our nation. So with that, I will tell you that in the interest of doing that, we are still full speed ahead, trying to identify over 200 small businesses in the different swim lanes for manufacturing, sheet metal, standard parts, composites, you know, castings, forgings, some of the things that we really do. But we also, with our proteges and small businesses, we're trying to make sure that they are all safe and their businesses are able to keep going. And if they're not, they're reaching out to us so that we can take care of things from an internal perspective and ensuring that they have what they need to continue their businesses and keep them running for the end items. So for the most part, when I first got on the phone call, DCMA just called me and they actually put out a letter today also to all of the mentor proteges because the the intent is that the small businesses are not put in harm's way with all of the covert concerns that are out there, and that everybody is safe. All organizations, and Don said it clearly, a lot of the organizations, a lot of the functions that we've been having or we're going to have has been postponed or put on hold. But with that, we also, Dennis, will be probably partnering with you guys and Vaughn and everybody else that's on the phone. We're going to actually be hosting a Hub Zone conference, and it's going to be via Zoom, and that came through since we've been on the phone with USC Center for Economic Development. So we'll make sure that all your members are able to listen in at those calls if they actually fall within a Hub Zone and what those requirements are. Going to try to keep that to a bare minimum, maybe an hour, because the lines are pretty tied up with everybody working remotely. But with that, if anybody has any issues or concerns with anything having to do with Northrop, please reach out to me. I'm available. We are on pretty early and off pretty late on the computers, but here for everybody. So thank you, Vaughn.
Thank you, Vicky. We appreciate what Northrop is doing, and we certainly are happy to partner with you on any programs that will help our small businesses.
Okay, so we'll make sure you guys get that email
Thank
out.
you.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll turn it over to Lydia McGee with Metropolitan Water District now.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. What I wanted to do is just basically start off with Metropolitan's mission, because it's really all about water. The mission of the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California is to provide its service areas with adequate and reliable supplies of high quality water to meet present and future needs in an environmentally and economically responsible way. And with that in mind, I just wanted to reiterate our message that Metropolitan assures the public of water reliability safety. We're safe, and it's safe to drink the water. What I'm going to do is just skip over, go to the next slide, and just to reiterate this message. If you can go to the next one, the one before that, the yellow one. We're taking care of your water supply and quality. Therefore, you can take care of each other. A lot of people are stockpiling on bottled water. There's no need to stockpile bottled water. The tap water safety is not at risk. For those that don't know, Metropolitan is the wholesaler of water. We provide water to our 26 member agencies who are our customers, who in turn supply water to our residential customers as well as our business customers. The water is safe, and that's the main message. One thing I'd also like to say on behalf of the Business Outreach Program, just a special COVID-19 message to our small business community. We know that many of our small business partners are being impacted by local and statewide orders for residents to stay at home, and for many companies to stop or change their operations. Metropolitan's business outreach staff, our team, has been and will continue to work closely with organizations and government agencies to identify those resources and information about financial assistance and other programs that can assist small businesses in our community during this challenging time. So if we can be of any assistance, please feel free to contact me. You can contact me directly at lemcgee@mwdh2o.com. That contact information for our team can also be found at our website. So if there's two takeaways, one is our website, mwdh2o.com, and then bewaterwise.com. BeWaterwise provides you with all the current updates regarding the water and what's going on at MWD in terms of the quality of our water. And I can go back later and talk about opportunities and certification if time allows. Okay, Vaughn, back to you.
Thanks, Lydia. So I think we've gone over pretty much all of the details as to what each utility is doing, or each company rather is doing in terms of COVID-19. In the few minutes that we have left with regards to those that are on time constraints, I would like to just talk about any opportunities that may exist uh, for the ABA community. I will start by just saying that our crisis team is putting together a website to create to let you know what opportunities are available. In meeting with them on this morning's call, they just simply said to let you know that in the coming weeks, meaning the next 30 days, they will create some consulting opportunities centered around safety in the workplace and coping with COVID-19, as well as safety in the community, pipeline development, and things like that. They'll also be creating some advertising and marketing opportunities, as well as a few real estate opportunities in the event that people have to be shifted somewhere else. So that's all I have for SoCal Gas at this time. I'll let Don chime in, and then we'll go down the roster for anyone that has additional opportunities that they wish to discuss in brief.
Yes, and it's so funny. I think we're all looking the same way to post our opportunities. We'll also be posting them as well. But what I can tell you that we're looking for now is with the issues regarding disinfecting and sanitation, all of that, we're looking for additional companies who can support us in the facilities and maintenance space. So if any of you on the call are in janitorial services or maintenance, facility maintenance, certainly reach out. And Vaughn, are you going to be sharing our email addresses at the end of this to all the participants?
Yes, what I'm going to do is put together a one-sheeter with our contact information, which is their name, first and last name, company name, and email address.
Okay, great. So so that's kind of what I know what we're looking for, but we're strategizing and looking to see, because of the situation, where the new areas of opportunity for us, and they'll be listed, but we will also discuss those on the 4 panels that we are hosting in April. And Vaughn will have that as well, that he can share with you when he responds back to everyone. So I'm good.
Certainly.
You can go to the next person.
Thank you. Vicky, I know you have to leave in 2 minutes. Did you want to chime in?
Yes, I can make sure that you guys have the list that we're looking for in the manufacturing swim lane, but we're always looking for everybody. So just make sure, and Dennis always provides his members information when we have a data call to actually have small businesses on those procurement opportunities. But we have a request to get 200 new small businesses on board before December. So we're working pretty hard to do that and meet every week with the strategic sourcing team in an effort to ensure that. So
Perfect.
Anybody, feel free to call.
Thank you, Vicky, and thank you for joining today.
Oh, no problem. I'm going to jump off now.
All right.
Gone.
I'll talk with you soon. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Ben, did you have anything extra that you'd like to add?
Sure, as a mute. Just reinforcing, if you have ideas around what could be done that are really around sanitation and health and safety, for folks, I think for Disney now, the parks and the productions, safety of the folks that will go there would be is of highest priority right now. So again, it's sanitizers, masks, and if you have it on hand that you can supply, or somebody that could, great. If you got ideas of solutions that are innovative that you think somebody should listen to, and not something that requires a long runway to get done, because these things are going to come up as soon as, knock on wood, when this thing gets passed, right? Those will be the core areas, I think. Once Disney kind of gets back into functioning, the other things would bubble up. But for now, those are the core areas that they have everybody working on.
Uh-oh. Ben, I have a local supplier that I will send you who actually reached out to me this morning with regards to some of those needs. So I'll share that information with you, and you can decipher if it's a fit for you or not.
Sounds good. Thermometers as well, touch thermometers.
Okay. Thank you. Before I go to Lydia, I just want to acknowledge that Keisha Washington, who's also a part of ABA LA's committees, is on the call. Keisha is on a different subcommittee, but if she has something to chime in on, I would like to give her that opportunity, or if she's just listening, that's fine too.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Just real quick, so I have another call to go to. One, thank you, Lydia, for mentioning water. DWP's water is safe, and I think our GM did an advertisement. He basically said for the amount of money you would spend on a $26 or $26 for a pack of some sort of vitamin water, you could get over 200 times the amount. So please, please, please do not spend unnecessary resources on water. Similarly, DWP is not shutting off customers. We're asking you to pay what you can, but we are not shutting off customers. For information on what we are doing, please go to ladwpnews.com. That will always have the latest information. I will tell you that our call center, which is in our building, and as we're trying to work at home as much as possible, we've had to reduce the staffing so that we're able to maintain the safe distances. That has impacted our numbers somewhat, but we're asking you again to either call or to check online at ladwp.com for any and all of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Keisha. I'm glad you were on this call. That was helpful information. I'll turn it over to Lydia, and then we'll close out the call.
Thank you, Vaughn. I'll keep it short. The most important takeaways, I say 2 takeaways, if nothing else, is to make sure you have our website information, www.mwdh2o, the letter O like oxygen.com, and be water-wise. About 49% of our employees are working from home, and of course some of the other positions are critical to maintain our water treatment plants and facilities, but positions or opportunities are being posted on our website. It's important that you go in, if you're not registered in our database, to register. If you're a small business, then get certified. The whole process will take about 15 to 30 minutes. We are a reciprocity partner with DGS, so we do accept their certification. And for those of you that are registered in our database, go in and make sure your profile is updated. When we're looking for certain commodities or different areas, professional services, our buyers do go in and search that database. If you're not in our database, we don't know you exist. So I can't stress that enough to actually get registered, certified in our database, update your profile. And we are looking for the basic things also in terms of disinfectants, hand sanitizers, those things that are needed for our field. The chemical area, we're good, but we are still posting bid opportunities on our website. And that's it for me.
Thanks, Lydia. So, Dennis and all of the ABA members, first of all, on behalf of the entire Education and Outreach Subcommittee, we'd like to thank you all for, one, taking the time out of your busy schedules to hear what we have to say, to understand that we are committed not just to ABA, but to the Los Angeles and Southern California community. We hope that the information that we've provided today has been of some resource or assistance to you. We also encourage you to follow up with any of us when necessary to get more clarification or to understand what opportunities are in the pipeline. Having said that, I encourage you to, one, go to the links that we've provided to check out the resources that are available. Please, by all means, exercise the resources that SBA is offering. I think that those resources will benefit you short-term and long-term. And I want to thank Julia for stepping in on Victor's behalf and presenting those resources, as they are critical at such a time as this. So with that, I will yield myself back to you, Dennis. We are, as a committee, we are officially done with our presentations for today. But if you have questions that you'd like to ask us, we'll take them.
Thank you. Well, I think for the sake of time, I know with these things, it kind of gets a little bit long and everything else. So I think it's good to wrap up. But what I like to do is we'll circle back as our homework at ABA. We'll circle back each one of you, make sure that we get all the links, all the things that we necessary that you guys said. And we'll be sending out at least, we can send a group to this group that's on. Later on, we can still also post it to our website as well. So we'll make that available. But I really want to thank each and one of you, everybody's time to make this happen. Just a couple of things before we close this out. ABA, we're working with PACE to help with the SBA disaster loan. So for us is, you know, V has been really studying this and making sure how the thing, and there's certain rules and, you know, like how much to ask for and things like that we have in place, and we can kind of coach you. And I hear Larry on the phone as well. I guess he's doing that with some of the folks at SBDC. So, you know, at this point, it's however we can help to get the word out, we should really continue to do that. We just ask that if you are helping somebody or if you're applying yourself, please help us. We're trying to track the number of loans that's out there and the total dollar amount because we can help with some follow-ups. In the long run, it may be some grant that PACE and us will work out, but I think it's good for us to keep track of that. So number one, I want to let everybody know that we're doing that. We will continue the conversation. I know there's some things maybe you can learn from each other. We want to have a peer-to-peer. So we'll continue this conversation via social media. Bianca was good to put something together on LinkedIn. If you don't know, her email is up there. We'll send you an invite to connect together via LinkedIn group. ABA, again, we are helping by putting all the resources that we know. It may be different from other people because we are really, as a regional organization, really focused on Southern California. So most of the numbers and the things that we have on there is about Southern California. Again, go to our website /solutions, abala.org/solutions, to find the latest things. We do update that constantly, almost on a daily things. As things change, we'll move as well. A little plug is that while you're on our site, as you log in as a member, I think it would be fantastic to make a deal, so to speak, to one another, right? Any promotions your company is offering to keep commerce going. Please continue to use that technology online. It's a marketplace for our members. If you can get on there and kind of help each other out, get that things going. But at the end of the day, we want commerce to get going. We are trying and best way we know how. One of the things I've heard, and you guys can really think about doing this, is to buy gift cards from your local favorite restaurants. So what that does is it really advances that local restaurant or retailer some money. It's basically an interest-free loan for them. Do and buy as much as you can. I heard people buying from $1,000, $2,000 to help them out and bridge that gap. Later on at the end, when everything does recover back again, you can redeem it, and I'm sure they'll be very grateful for you to redeem as well to help them over. So that's kind of like our little tip for everybody. Again, we're trying to keep commerce going. We'll continue the conversation, and you guys can continue to chat. We'll leave the chat open for everybody, but really want to thank you for your time. Pay attention to what we're doing. We'll have other webinars as it comes out, and I think that's a great platform for folks still to meet up and still have little side chats for one another. But God bless everybody. Thank you very much for your time. And Vaughn, thank you so much for helping us putting all this together.
My pleasure.
Until then, we will see you next time.
Thank you all. Take care.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
Thank you.